then I had another very important question for Gabor. I remember it like it happened yesterday. I was on the phone with him. I came home one day from seeing him, and I said, "You got to help me with this. You got to help me with this." I said, "What is it?" You're teaching me. The whole teaching is to feel the body, right? Yes, yeah. To feel the body, yes. But for all my other teachers and everything I ever studied was about that you're not the body, that you shouldn't identify with the body, you should transcend the body, transcend the senses. My first teacher called the body a shit factory. He used to tell stories about when you eat a plum, a nice, juicy, fragrant plum, and how it comes out is quite different. And that's what happens when a nice fruit goes through your body. What's the body? It's a piece of dirt. The other teacher called the body chalk, water, salt, protoplasm, and slime, all slung together in the bag of time. He also used to say, you can't put the greater into the lesser. God is so great, you can't put it in the lesser, which is the physical body. The body is physical, it can't be the body. You have to transcend it. You have to go beyond the body. And then the other teachers talking about astral traveling, leave the body, go to other realms and meet other beings from other dimensions. Holy gamoly. I said, this is what I came with to him. And he explained something wonderful. He explained that the body is the door. The body is an amazing door. The body can function by itself. It pumps the blood. It does the whole circulation thing, the breathing, the muscles, the bone. Everything works on the body so much better than we ever can imagine. No doctor even knows the body. First thing that happens to us, we call the doctor. The body has all the answers. It knows what to do. It's brilliant. Universal intelligence runs this whole mechanism. All we need to do is go inside and be with it, feel it. That's where the kingdom is. It's the door. And what I realized from that is very important. I realized that all this stuff about don't identify with the body, it's the mind's con job to get us away from the body. Because when you're in the body, the mind dies. It doesn't survive there. It's not the ruler of the body. It wants to be. But we don't really identify with the body. That's not true that we identify. Who identifies with the body? If we really gave even a little bit of attention to the body, we wouldn't be eating what we eat. We wouldn't be smoking. The body tries to talk to us. When we take our first cigarette, we start coughing like crazy. That's the body telling us, don't do that. But we don't listen, and we keep smoking, and then the coughing stops. Because the body figures, why am I going to talk to the schmuck? He doesn't listen to me anyways. So who listens to the body? Nobody is identified. We don't identify with the body. What we identify with is the stories that our mind creates about the body. Do I look good? Do I look fat? Do I look good in this? Am I intelligent enough? Is my body smart enough? Is my body strong enough? We identify with the stories. Am I spiritual enough? We have all these built-in stories and concepts about the body. That's what we identify with. Nobody identifies with the body. But the mind had to create a spiritual teaching. It says, don't identify with the body. Transcend the senses. Meanwhile, that is the instrument and the senses as well. By focusing on your hearing and your seeing from the inside and tasting from the inside. Those are instruments that take you back home. Throughout the years, we've been together for almost 5 years, I've been learning so much about the falsity of other teachings and how the other teachings trip you. It's like anything else in life, you know, something new comes up. You know, people think that in spirituality everybody's honest. No, they're not. What I was doing with spirituality is what I was doing with everything else. Mm-hmm. The ego trip, the ambition to succeed. It was like anything else. Mm-hmm. What I realized too is that the teachings that you go through until you find the truth, people say, oh, it's a good preparation. No, it's not. They're not stepping stones.
Oh, yeah.
They're blocks. So many people come to me and say, oh yeah, I think I like this presence thing and I like this being in the now stuff, but I've never read a spiritual book in my life, so I need to read a few things first so I have preparation.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
And I think, no, you don't.
Mm-hmm.
And that's what I want to tell people. You don't. You don't need to spend time in India. You can do those things.
Yeah.
Nothing wrong with them. But go inside first. Then you can enjoy them. But it's not instead of, you're not going to find anything out there. It's not in a book. It's not in a course. It's not in anybody else but yourself. But to find it, it's very helpful to have somebody with you who can hold that space for you, because the mind won't stop. It goes. It just won't stop. And there are teachers today that teach that.
Yeah.
You know, Eckhart Tolle is one of them. I never understood him before, but now I do.
Mm-hmm.
Now I know what he's talking about.
Yeah.
Before I never did, because I was trying to understand it with the mind. And the other beautiful thing I learned is about, I used to be, in the other teachings, we always had to cultivate spiritual behavior.
Oh.
We had to in one teaching, we had to smile all the time.
Oh, yeah.
Show that
Yeah,
you're
yeah,
happy.
yeah.
You always have to have good thoughts. You always have to be positive. You can't show any emotion. You have to practice this and to be vegetarian, or you have to do. No, you don't. The only duty, the only responsibility, the only obligation, if you want to call it something, is to go inside and to hold God's hand.
Yeah.
That's
Yeah.
was my prayer. That's what the note that I put in the Wailing Wall, and that was the dream that I had about that peace. Just go there. Everything else happens. When you're in that spot, you're generous.
Yeah.
When you're in that spot, you're compassionate. When you're in that spot, you're loving. You don't have to go, you don't have to be like that, but you're peaceful, and people feel it. That's why our whole relationship is based on presence, and we never argue. Ever. We don't fight, we don't argue, we don't split hairs about opinions, we don't try to outsmart each other or one-upmanship one another. No. This is very loving and peaceful.
Yeah.
Another very important observation that I've had now that I've been living with Gabor for a while is that he is not different when he speaks and as he is at home. With my other teachers, it was very different. They would sit on the throne and they would be one way, and my first teacher was a monk, and he preached celibacy, and after he died, there was a big scandal. We found out that he was sleeping with 16-year-old girls. Of course, he said, do as I say, not as I do, so it's okay. That's okay. And the same with the second teacher. You know, he would speak beautifully to us, and behind, I thought I was fortunate because I got to be a lot in his home and see a lot of things, and they weren't the same. He wasn't the same, and he was talking against marriage and against being in couples, and he himself had a male lover. He talked about loving each other, and meanwhile he was bad-mouthing other people behind their back. So there was no consistency, and I've become very aware of that, and I watch for that because I was fooled for so long. My eyes are open, and when I see with Gabor, he's always the same. There's no difference in his reaction whether I correct something that he did, that correct him, or praise him. There's no difference. He doesn't go, it doesn't go to his head. He's even. I've seen him go through very happy things, good experiences, and also through very difficult times, like when he had his heart surgery. And he's the same.
Yeah.
He's present. He knows how to go inside, and he has the same peace around him. He doesn't criticize. I've gone through very difficult times undoing my past, and I've had moments of crying, and many moments of crying and depression and letting go. And he's the same with me. He's always the same presence, the same space, the same loving, compassionate presence is there every time, whether I'm praising him or whether I'm going through hell. It's always the same. People from my past assume that I'm putting Gabor on a pedestal, like I used to do with my other teachers.
For you also.
But first of all, I can't do that anymore. Second of all, even if I did, it wouldn't work. He doesn't go on a pedestal. He's not interested in pedestals. He's with his sandals, he's simple. When you're present, when you're inside, when you're holding God's hand, there's no difference.
No.
There's no higher and lower. Even the statement that my previous teacher said, you can't put the greater into the lesser. There's no greater and there's no lesser. There's no good and there's no bad. There's no such thing. There's no pedestal. The only thing on the pedestal is the ego. And it's time to take it down and for the inner self, for lack of a better word, or the presence, or the not, whatever you want to call it, to be on the throne. The inner being, the inner consciousness that you feel inside when you're present, that's what sits on the throne. And when that is on the throne, no one else is. Or everybody else is.